Hello, my name is Rose Bond. I'm the head of animated arts here at Pacific Northwest College of Art in Portland, Oregon. And it's my distinct honor today to introduce and welcome you to the virtual premiere of the life cycle of the Pacific salmon. This animated short, supported by the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, is the result of the latest collaboration between PNCA student artists and the scientists at the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or as we know them, NOAA Fisheries. While some may think that a partnership between an art school and a federal science agency is an unlikely pairing, we've found otherwise. In 2013, Emily Portinga, she taught science here at the college, planted the seeds for PNCA's Art and Science Initiative. That year, NOAA came knocking, and Animated Arts opened the door. Our first joint project was a short film that thread the needle in between waterfront development and the habitat needs of salmon. Working with the NOAA Fisheries scientists and administrators, animators Beryl Ali and John Summerson used their skills and their vision to frame the challenges, to propose alternatives, and to invite a call for action. It's a short film, all that in 3 minutes. Let me share a clip. Through these collaborative actions and efforts, we're finding ways to advance a shared vision, one that bridges environmental science and stewardship with the potent immediacy of the moving image. How long does it take to get an idea across, one that changes minds or behaviors? This mini short was created in 2015 as part of NOAA's Citizen of Your Watershed social media campaign. It's animated by Beryl Ali, and it's called Littering. Our society is increasingly screen-based, and the challenges we face seem to become ever more complex and acute. While some may relegate animation to children's television or children's entertainment, it's becoming a go-to medium in expanded venues, from the performing arts, sciences, to experiential design. These partnerships are important. They give our students opportunities to apply their skills to real-world issues in ways that lead to understanding, empathy, and social change. From environmental concerns to salmon stewardship, our students are the visualizers. They're the curious researchers and the storytellers who can make a difference. On behalf of PNCA and the Animated Arts Department, I want to thank NOAA and thank the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, and a special thanks to Lori Damiano and her committed team of animators for creating this work. For thousands of years, tribal peoples throughout the Columbia Basin have held the salmon in a special place. Their cycle, this story, is truly a mythic journey.
Every year, Pacific salmon migrate from their home stream to the sea and back again. This incredible journey can be hundreds or even thousands of miles long. During their migration, salmon play an important role in the health and stability of ecosystems, making them a keystone species. Their long journey starts here, in a riverbed, where thousands of tiny eggs have been laid in a gravel nest called a red. The eggs remain in the gravel throughout the winter while the embryos develop. In late winter or early spring, eggs hatch and the alevins emerge. These tiny fish live off the nutritious yolk sacs that hang off their stomachs. During this stage, they stay under the cover of their gravel nests. Despite this relative safety, many things can still harm salmon in their early stages of life. Rising water temperatures and predators such as blue herons, osprey, and kingfishers. They will not leave the protection of the gravel until their yolk is used up, in about 12 weeks. At that time, the young salmon called fry swim up to the surface, gulp air to fill their swim bladders, and begin to feed. Too weak to travel upstream, the little fry begin to drift downstream. Along the way, they stop at calmer pools to rest and feed on zooplankton and small bugs. Some species immediately head out to sea, while others spend up to 2 years in fresh water. Migrating to sea is a long and arduous journey. The young salmon will spend this time avoiding predators and imprinting the smells of their home stream into their memory. Eventually, they make their way towards an estuary. Estuaries are where freshwater and saltwater meet. This brackish water provides many nutrient-rich foods for growing salmon. Here, young salmon undergo many changes to transition from living in freshwater to saltwater. This process is known as smoltification. During smoltification, salmon develop a dark back, a light belly, and will change to have silvery colors. This coloring will help them hide in the open ocean. Smolts seek deeper water and avoid light, and their gills and kidneys begin to change so they can process salt water. Young fish remain in the estuaries and tidal creeks, feeding on small fish, insects, crustaceans, and mollusks. Meanwhile, older fish gradually move into deeper, saltier water until they enter the ocean. Some salmon remain in coastal waters. Others travel thousands of miles through the open ocean. Depending on the species, they will stay at sea for 1 to 7 years. As they travel, they will feed on animals such as fish, squid, eels, and shrimp. These ocean adults have grown larger and stronger in order to prepare for their difficult journey home. This journey begins when they are ready to spawn, and they are guided back by the smells of their home stream. On their way back to the estuary, they will have to navigate past fishers and predators such as porpoises, sharks, and seals. Those that do make it back to the estuary will face many obstacles in their battle upstream, such as waterfalls, dams, and even more predators. When migrating adults reach freshwater, they stop eating. During the remainder of their journey, their bodies prepare to reproduce. They change color from a silver to a brown, green, or red depending on the species. The males of some species develop a hooked snout, humpback, and elongated teeth. This transformation occurs to attract potential mates and to defend spawning territory. Upon reaching their natal stream, females build nests. They turn on their side and use their tails to dislodge stones or pebbles. Males fight with other males for spawning rights with a female. The dominant male will court a female and she will lay her eggs in the nest while the male will fertilize them with milk. The female then covers the nest with loose gravel and moves upstream to prepare another red. After swimming hundreds or even thousands of miles to get here, and having completed their quest, the salmon's energy is completely drained. Most die within a few days of spawning. While the journey of these salmon has come to a close, the nutrients from their decomposing bodies will fertilize the stream and provide food for insects and microorganisms, nourishing the next generation of salmon. Bears, wolves, otters, birds, and other animals bring nutrient-rich droppings as well as uneaten parts of salmon into the forest, helping to fertilize the surrounding land. Pacific salmon have been nourishing our cultures, economies, and ecosystems for millions of years. The choices we make today affect salmon and all of the species that depend on them. visit www.fisheries.noaa.gov to learn how you can be a salmon steward and ensure the cycle continues.
Hi everyone! My name is Emmy Stonier. I was the director as well as one of the animators on the Pacific Salmon Life Cycle project. One of the reasons I was initially interested in the project is because my dad was in the Coast Guard. Combined with my growing up in the Pacific Northwest and learning about the salmon life cycle in elementary school, I also had these awesome stories from my dad as he researched salmon in the Coast Guard Academy. Our team did a ton of research before the project started, but sometimes as artists, it's better to see stuff with your own eyes. That's why it was so important for us to take a trip up to the Pacific Northwest Salmon Center in Belfair, Washington. Our tour guide, Lucas Marin, definitely quizzed us on the research we had done so far. As we walked along the estuary, I noticed that there was something drastically different about the scenes I had been animating. The colors were all wrong. As soon as we got back to Portland, I went straight to the studio to fix one of the scenes I had previously animated so it better reflected what an estuary would look like in real life. This really showed me the importance of field research, even in a project as artistic as this one. Our team is so grateful to the National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, in partnership with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, for this opportunity to teach you all about the Pacific salmon life cycle. We hope you enjoy watching it as much as we enjoyed creating it in the studio.
Hey there. My name is Leonard, and I was the lead storyboard artist as well as one of the animators during this project. I was pretty excited when we pitched this film. So, as the storyboard artist, I also kind of took on the role of script writing. The initial packet that we got when we pitched the film had a really great breakdown of the different phases of the Pacific Northwestern salmon's life cycle, but they were put into more of bullet points. So, one of my jobs was to, basically over a 3-day weekend, I went online and just watched a bunch of videos about the life of Pacific Northwestern salmon, and just read a bunch of articles from various websites. I think that the NOAA official website was in my tab bar. I had like 8 or 10 tabs open at once because I was cross-referencing all the different facts about salmon and their lives. So then I kind of just took all that information and boiled it down along with the original bullet points and wrote just a script. And then the narrator could take that and read it, and I could take it and board to it. We had one iteration at the beginning, and then we bounced it back and forth with the scientists over at NOAA to make sure that all the facts were right and everything checked out. And I think we only made like a handful of changes, so it turned out pretty good, honestly. And then that's what we had in the end. So yeah, overall it was a really good time for me, and I got to draw fish a lot. I got really good at drawing fish, and now I have a bunch of fish knowledge just in my head forever now. And I feel really bad for salmon because only like 1% make it full circle. I was impressed by that number. But yeah, it's a good time.
Hello, my name is Naveen Alkhatib, and I am the background artist as well as one of the animators for the NOAA project. We had the opportunity to work with NOAA to help create an educational animated short film about the salmon life cycle. During the production of the film, we took a trip to one of our local fisheries so that we can better understand and learn more about salmon. As the background artist of the film, I made sure to take notes on the environment so that I can better represent their habitats. Another thing that we've learned during our trip was the importance of salmon to our environment. At the end of their cycle, salmon remains are used as fertilizer for the ground, which help grow and propagate our crops. I was also in charge of animating their reproduction cycle. To do so, I did research on how they went about this process, and I've come to learn that female salmon will indeed dig nests via their tail so that they can lay their egg there safely, while the male will fertilize from above. Overall, I am grateful for this opportunity to have worked on this film, and I hope you all enjoy watching it as much as I have enjoyed making it.
Hi, I'm Emily, and on this film I worked as a colorist on the animation and designed each of the salmon's life stages that appear. As someone who grew up in Oregon, a good portion of my memories in school was learning about the importance of salmon, and we even got to watch salmon eggs hatch and become alevin in the classroom, and it was these moments that had really stuck with me today. When I had heard about this project and opportunity, I couldn't pass up the chance to work on a topic so close to my heart as an Oregonian. In the beginning stages of the project, I focused on the character designs, and this had to be one of the best parts because it also required lots of research. I got to figure out how each stage is represented. For example, the alevin have bright orange sacs that have yet to be absorbed by the fish, and in the smolt stage, the young fish have par bars, which are the vertical lines across their bodies. In the final spawning stage, the salmon turn a beautiful red color, and each stage has their own unique features that I focused on highlighting. Salmon undergo a huge physical change as they get ready to travel and survive in salty ocean waters in a process called smoltification, and it was great to be able to learn how to represent these distinctive features visually. You can see this in the adult fish's lighter silvery colors and the loss of the younger stage's par bars and the darker tones. These fish cross great distances, lakes, rivers, and estuaries and oceans to complete their life cycles, and they face many challenges along the way. Some of the obstacles are things that we as humans have caused. Through this project, we got to visit the Salmon Center and learn more about this impressive fish. We got to even plant native species and help reestablish the surrounding area. Our impact on Earth has affected this species through overfishing, dam construction, and warming waters, and I think it's critical for people to be aware of this. Salmon are super important to many other species of animals and plants, and even humans as they complete their life cycle, and continuing education and the protection of this incredible fish is something that was strengthened in me from working on this film. It was a pleasure to be able to represent these important fish and their journey through animation. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today to learn more about Pacific salmon. My name is Alicia Keefe, and I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator for NOAA Fisheries West Coast Region. During this segment, I will be sharing a little bit more about NOAA fisheries, the importance of salmon, and tools for learning more about these keystone species. NOAA Fisheries is responsible for the stewardship of the nation's ocean resources and their habitat. We are an office of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration within the Department of Commerce. We have 5 regional offices, 6 science centers, and more than 20 laboratories around the United States. We work to ensure sustainable seafood, we protect marine species, and we conserve and restore habitat. For thousands of years, salmon have played a vital role in cultures and economies around the world. Their annual migration has inspired dances, festivals, poems, and family recipes. From the west coast of the United States to Russia and Sweden to Canada, these iconic fish have been the centerpiece of many community traditions and fishing economies. Salmon are a vital link in many food chains and a keystone species in many different ecosystems. From bears to insects, more than 137 species depend on salmon for their survival. As the bodies of salmon decompose, nitrogen, phosphorus, and other nutrients fertilize the surrounding land and help nourish the next generation of salmon. A single female salmon can lay up to 10,000 eggs, and only a handful will mature into adults. In addition to natural predators, salmon face a myriad of human-caused threats such as climate change, passage barriers, habitat loss, and water pollution. Every day, each of us make choices that ultimately affect the health of local watersheds and the species living in them. That also means there are many opportunities for us to make a difference each day. From habitat restoration to picking up litter and using alternative transportation to building rain gardens, there are many ways for you, your family, and your school to get involved. Visit the website on this slide for additional information. Since salmon are the center of many cultures, ecosystems, and economies around the world, they are a naturally interdisciplinary topic for any classroom. By studying salmon, students have the opportunity to research an iconic species that lives in their community, grapple with many real-world challenges such as habitat loss, climate change, and urban runoff, evaluate the cultural, environmental, and economic importance of a keystone species, and design solutions to promote habitat conservation and species recovery. Next, I will highlight a few salmon resources that can be used in formal education, non-formal education, and homeschool settings. Salmon are the foundation of many cultures and economies around the Pacific Ocean. They are also integral to the health of many marine and freshwater ecosystems. That is the foundation of our series called An Incredible Journey. The series includes a vividly illustrated children's book, a board game, and a 10-lesson curriculum. It can be downloaded for free in English and Spanish. Together, these resources inspire students to become salmon stewards. The Sea Steward's Handbook describes 9 of the most serious issues facing our ocean today and helps people understand how these issues relate to our daily actions. After learning about each issue, readers learn 3 tangible ways to make a difference. These actions range from using simple apps to new ways of purchasing to making minor changes around the house. Each section features a Making Change case study that highlights how youth and adults are making a difference for their local watershed. Through our partnership with the Pacific Northwest College of Art, we have developed outreach materials that can help engage your larger community in salmon stewardship. From easily paintable murals to animations and posters, there are many different products that can help you tell the story of salmon. The Salmon Challenges and Survive the Sound online games can help your students or children understand the challenges facing salmon during different stages of their life cycle. For those of you who feel really passionate about conserving and recovering marine species and restoring the habitat on which they depend, I encourage you to browse NOAA's Office of Education website to look for grant opportunities, scholarships, internships, and other teacher professional development. To learn more about our educational resources, please reach out using the email address or website on this slide. And thank you for all that you do to promote salmon stewardship.